what we have been doing earlier session also, one of the earlier sessions, my style of this one is we go through the question. Before we go through the answer, I'll give you some time to maybe visualize the answer or what adjustments are there. Then we'll take a run through of that. Then we'll attempt solving the answer. So question number 1, as I told, it's a question involving Rule 43, capital goods used for exempt supply. So you can keep that in mind. Section 17.3 read with Rule 43. KPI Limited, registered in the state of Himachal Pradesh, has a manufacturing unit in Badi, which is also in Himachal Pradesh. The company manufactures 2 products, XT and ST. XT is taxable, whereas ST is exempt. Now, following details are given. Various machinery, again, as I told, now we are dealing with capital goods. Therefore, various machinery, the details are being given there. Machinery 1. Now, I would request you to just observe. I'll go very slow in reading the question because I want you to visualize the answer first. Fine. So when I discuss the answer, I request some kind of interaction from your end. So machinery 1, it is purchased on 1st of July. The question is also, I guess, involving the month of July. So we can keep that in mind. So machinery 1 purchased in 1st of July, beginning of the month, used for manufacturing both the taxable product as well as the exempt product. Please note, XT is taxable, ST is exempt. So it is used for both taxable as well as exempt product. Therefore, this is typically what we call it as a common capital good or common ITC. Then second, machinery 2 is exclusively used, again it is purchased on 1st of July, beginning of the month, exclusively used for manufacturing XT, which is taxable. So completely used for a taxable product. Now, what is the treatment you can just visualize? Next, C. Machinery number 3. Again, purchased on beginning of the month, exclusively used for exempt. Exclusively used for exempt product, ST. Then, point number D. Now, please note, if you look at it very carefully, okay, anyway, let's take it one by one. Then we'll analyze the question later. Machinery number 4, purchased on 1st of October of the last year, that is preceding financial year. That is not purchased during the current month of July. It is exclusively used for manufacturing product ST. That is, earlier it was used for exempt product ST only. But from 1st of July, it is used for manufacturing XT also. So which means what? This is a conversion that is happening during the current period. That is, earlier it was completely used for exempt product. Now it is used both for taxable as well as exempt product. So it is used for common purpose. It is a common ITC. So what is the effect of this particular change? We'll have to see that. Then machinery number 5, again purchased on 1st of January, current year. When I say current year, I mean a few months back. And it is used completely in manufacturing XT. Earlier it was used only for XT, that is taxable product. Now from 1st of July, from the current month onwards, it is used for manufacturing ST also. So this means it is earlier used for taxable alone, exclusively used for taxable. Now it is used for common purpose. So what is the treatment we'll have to see? Then last machinery number 6. Last machinery number 6. Purchased on 1st of July, 2 years ago. Again, it is also purchased 2 years ago. Right? 1st of July, 2 years ago. But it is used for manufacturing both product XT as well as ST. That is, it was purchased 2 years back. Even from that time onwards, it is completely used for common purpose. There is no change happening during the current period, nothing happening. It is continuing to remain the same, used for common purpose. Therefore, having seen this, any other machineries are okay. Some other information is given. Let's have a look. That's machineries are over, I guess. Some other information. You are required to calculate the amount of ITC credited to the ECL, e-credit ledger, during the current month of July. So you'll have to ascertain how much ITC will have to be credited to the or ITC to be availed during the current month of July. Second, how much ineligible credit, TIE. So we'll have to go by that formula and all. How much ineligible credit during the current month. Then third, compute the aggregate value of the common credit. So what is the common credit used for that particular purpose of reversal? Rule 43 calculation purpose, the TC value we'll have to calculate. And last one, TM also is required. Please note all these TIE, TC, TM, all these, if you can recollect your concept of rule 43, they come in the formula, correct? Therefore, if you to be very precise, TC is nothing but the common ITC. Whatever ITC used or capital goods used for common purpose, that total credit is TC. Whereas TM is the common credit attributable to a particular month. Now, let me just ask a question. Okay, let me just try to finish the question and then ask. So you're required to find out all this. Ideally, finally, you have to arrive at TM. So it's a step-by-step process they're asking. TIE, TCT. Actually, TR is also there, but there is no adjustment for TR. That is assets which have exceeded the residual life. That is not there. So directly they're coming to TM. So all conditions necessary for availing the ITC have been complied with. There are no other things that are required to be seen. So which means ultimately they're all eligible ITC only. And then you are required to make suitable assumptions. Fine. Now, before I go to the question, I just want to test the level of understanding or how much you're able to recollect regarding that rule 40 to 43. Therefore, let me just ask a question. What is the difference between TC and TM? Anybody? TC and TM. What is the difference between the two? Sir, no, sir, you are supposed to answer. I will not answer. Just attempt a shot. What is the difference between TC and TM? Abbreviations, that the word letter that is being
TC,
used here will give the idea.
Yeah. Can I go?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So TC basically is total credit.
All right.
Okay. And TM basically the common credit pertaining to that month only.
Okay. So TC, to be precise, is the common credit. Just a small correction in what you have mentioned.
Yeah.
TC is the common credit.
Correct.
Whereas TM is common credit attributable to this month.
Yes.
This July. That's why it's MM. M stands for monthly, C stands for common credit. Yeah. Now this M, how can you arrive at TM from TC? Any idea? Any inputs?
TM.
How to arrive at TM from TC?
From.
Any idea? Very simple. Yeah. What is the deemed useful life of the capital goods as far as Rule 43 and generally GST law is concerned?
60 months.
60 months.
Yeah.
So now TM means 1 month. We have to calculate the credit.
Therefore, divided by 60.
Yeah, TC by 60. If TR is there, we need to calculate the TR. If any assets during the current period have exceeded the residual life of or useful life of 60 months, that credit has to be excluded. But there's nothing given in the question. So if that is the case, we'll have to find out TR and then we'll have to find out TM as that particular whatever residual credit is there, that divided by 60. But here nothing regarding TR and all is given. Therefore, directly we can say TC by 60 we can do and get the credit for 1 month. Anyway, so this is one small question. Good. So I expect all the others to also participate. Just keep answering. See, I'm not, this is just a brainstorming exercise wherein whatever you know, you tell. Don't think whether it is correct or wrong. Just give your answer. Fine. That being said, now let me just go back to the question. I'll give you maybe a minute time to just go through it once again quickly, just to visualize and analyze the question. Then I'll tell you the steps where what we can adopt so that the answer discussion becomes very easy. It's not that difficult a question once you understand the method. So you can just go through the question very quickly once. Yeah. So can I just run through the next slide?
Yes, please.
So anyway, we are up to the question. Just to synthesize it once again, I'm just giving you some time. All right. Fine. So let me go back and give you the insights first. Then we'll look at the solution. It should make your life very simple. Now, first of all, we need to approach this problem in depending on what they're asking. what is the required thing in this question? First, we have to find out the how much ITC we have to avail. That is the first thing. 4 requirements are being asked. If you see, the first thing they're asking is how much credit should be availed in the current period. Therefore, let me call that as step 1. We'll find out how much ITC to be availed in the current period, that is July, step 1. Then having seen that, now we'll do one thing. So step 1, when I say there are 6 missionaries given here, so missionary 1 should be availed during the current period, yes or no, like that we'll try to analyze. Then step number 2, I'll just keep it pending for now. I'll explain when I come to one of the missionary. Then step number 3, I'll explain now, so it is very much understandable now itself. Now, step number 2, I'll keep it pending. Step number 3 is to calculate that particular TM. For TM, we need to ascertain the common credit, correct? That is the common capital goods.
Yes.
What is used for common purpose? We'll have to arrive at that first, find out the total of such common credit, TC, and then from that total of that common credit, we'll have to arrive at TM, which is TC divided by 60. So therefore, again, out of the 6 missionary, you'll have to tell me, one by one, you'll have to tell me. I'll just keep putting a tick here so that it becomes easy to analyze when you do the problem. So 6 missionary are there, you tell me, which is common, which will come as part of common ITC or not, that TC calculation, which missionary will come, you tell me, I'll just keep putting a tick. So we go by that approach. Yeah. Therefore, having seen these 3 steps, second step I'll explain when I come to that particular missionary. Others I'll go ahead now itself. Now, therefore, tell me, please keep telling me, one by one missionary will analyze. Yeah. First, let's go step 1. One by one missionary will analyze. Tell me, during the current month of July, we have to avail ITC on certain missionary purchased during the year. Correct? Which missionary is purchased during the year? You see, missionary 1, 2, and missionary 3 are purchased during the year. Correct? Correct. Therefore, whether to avail this particular capital goods on this missionary, we will have to see. Then other missionary, there is some conversion happening. Therefore, that also whether we need to avail or not, we need to see. But as far as the other missionary are concerned, they are not purchased during the period, July. They are purchased in some earlier period. So we can say ABC are new missionary, or 1, 2, 3 are new missionary, whereas 4, 5, 6 are older missionary purchased during earlier period. So keep this in mind now. Tell me the answer. Missionary 1 purchased during the current period, new missionary. It is used for common purpose. Can we avail the ITC on this? Yes or no?
Yes, we can. We can avail, but divided by first we will.
See, that is step 3. I'm just asking whether we need to avail. So let's go step by step. Otherwise, we'll get confused.
Yeah. First, yes.
Should we avail this?
Yes.
ITC should be avail. Yes or no?
Yes.
I'm not talking about the formula now. Just forget the formula.
Yes. Avail.
Avail. Yes. Good. What about the second one? Missionary 2. It is used for only taxable product.
Yes, we can avail.
It can also be availed. So we can avail this 36,000 also. Third missionary. Now again, I'll divide into 3 steps. I'll just put a tick accordingly.
No.
Missionary 3, complete use for exempt goods, ST.
No.
Because it is complete use for exempt goods, it can't be availed. That is common. Anything purchased during the current month used for taxable product exclusively or used for common purpose, we can avail. Whereas complete use for exempt purpose, it is completely ab initio ineligible. Correct?
Yes.
Right. Now come to point number D. Point DEF, that is missionary number 4, 5, and 6. They're old missionary purchased during some earlier period. But there is some conversion transition happening with regard to missionary number 4 and 5. Missionary number 6, absolutely we can say nothing to be done because it is purchased 2 years back and it is earlier used for common purpose, now also used for common purpose. Therefore, there is no question of any availment of ITC. Whereas missionary number 4 and 5, please tell me.
Yeah. Machinery number 4.
Yeah. That is earlier used for exempt purpose.
Yeah. Now it's a basically common. Yes, we can avail.
We should avail.
Yes.
We should avail.
Yes.
Because there is some conversion happening.
Yeah.
Earlier it was completely used for exempt purpose. Now you have to think very carefully. Sir, this is old missionary. Now October itself I purchased. Last year October itself I purchased. But at that time, would I have availed the missionary at the time of that purchase?
No.
No, because it is complete use for what purpose earlier?
Yeah, exempted purpose.
Exempt purpose. So just like this missionary number 3, we are not availing now. This missionary number 4, that period October, we would not have availed. Correct?
Yeah.
Whereas now we are converting its use to common capital goods. Therefore, earlier not availed, now we have to avail because it is used for common purpose. Is it not? But can we avail completely?
But this machine number 4. From 1st July also use. Okay, also I missed that.
It is purchased 1st October last year.
Yes. So
So these three are 4, 5, and 6 are old machinery.
Yes.
So last year October, since it is completely used for exam purpose, we would not have availed last year October.
Yes.
Whereas now this current July, we are converting it to common use. Therefore, now we need to avail it first. But can we avail this entire 144 fully?
No. First, we need to reduce the from 1st October last year to till 30th June, whatever the value based on divided by 60 into 5 per quarter, 5% per quarter.
So for good. So you're on the right track, but the idea is very simple. Need not divide by 60 and all. This 144, please note, my question was, can we avail this fully? Answer is yes, you can avail fully. But step number 2 also you have to do. See, this ITC will avail fully, but we have to add something as output tax, which is typically ITC reversal, but we have to disclose this as output tax. What is that? For however quarter of usage or part thereof, 5% per quarter, we'll have to calculate on this 144, 5% per quarter or part thereof, we'll have to calculate, and then we'll have to add that amount, how much ever percentage coming, 15% or 20%, whatever, we need to add it to output tax. Don't worry, we'll do that in the calculation. Now I'm just asking the principle. The calculation all, we'll do it in the answer. So therefore, the second step is now coming. Step number 1, 2, 3. Second step is, should we add anything for the output tax? Answer is yes. For this machinery number D, since it is earlier used for exam purpose, now used for common purpose. Step number 1, we can avail the ITC, no problem. But since it has been used for exam purpose for so long, so many quarters, so on and so forth, for each quarter or part thereof, 5% of that particular 144,000 has to be added to the output tax liability. That is step number 2. So only for this machinery, I think step number 2 will come. Now coming to 5th machinery, 6th machinery, no availment of ITC. We can just ignore it because earlier purchase, point number 1. Earlier also common, that time itself we would have availed. Therefore, there is no availment in the current month. 5th machinery. Earlier used for taxable, now used for common. That is, it is purchased 1st January. That is some, 6 months back. January, beginning of the year, calendar year, it is purchased. It is completely earlier used for taxable purpose. Now it is being converted to common use. Should we avail any ITC? Should we avail any ITC?
Yes, we can avail.
Think very carefully and say.
Sir, we can avail, sir, because presently also a portion of the goods being supplied are taxable, right?
Okay, I am again asking you and asking you to think very carefully. Should we avail? Think very carefully.
We can avail, but the proportion of ITC to be availed will come down.
Please note, my dear friends, earlier in January itself, it is completely used for taxable product. No? In January itself, we would have availed fully.
Yes, now we need to reverse the.
No need to, that is, now it will come in step number 3. It will get added to step number 3. That's it.
Okay.
So as far as now, let's not go to the formula. I'm just asking, should we avail ITC in the current?
No.
That's it. Therefore, step number 1 is concerned. What ITC will avail? It is machinery number 1, machinery number 2, machinery number 4. Correct? And machinery number 4, we need to also do step number 2. So step number 1 and 2 I finished. Okay, the calculation we'll do. I'm just giving the background. Now coming to the step number 3 formula. TIE. This is TIE, by the way. This is TIE. 5% per quarter calculation. Now coming to the TCTM, that formula calculation, that is step number 3. Okay. So therefore, again, let me go machinery by machinery and you tell me whether should we consider this for the purpose of TC. Common credit means TC. And then TM will calculate divided by 60. That's it. TC divided by 60 is TM. So therefore, I'll keep putting tick. You tell me. Will the first one come as common?
Yes.
Capital goods. Yes. Everybody, yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Because purchase using current period, new machinery, and it is directly used for common. No doubt. Second one.
No.
Third one. Third one.
No.
Third one. No. Fourth one. Fourth. current month it is converted to common. No?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Fifth one also current month converted to common.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Sixth one always common.
Yes.
So 4, 5, and 6 are
Common.
common. Easy. That's it. So you add up all these, you will get TC, and that TC divided by 60 is TM, right? So once we get this background, now can I discuss the answer? Yeah. Very
Yes.
simple. So 3 steps are involved. So first step, let's do that one very quickly. How much ITC to be availed? It is on machinery number 1, 2, and 4. Let's see that. Are you keeping in mind the numbers, or should I go back to the question and tell you the
No,
numbers?
no, it's okay.
1, 2, and 4. Correct?
Yes.
So total ITC availed. Step number 1 is over. Since I've spent a lot of time discussing the question itself, the answer becomes very simple. Otherwise, I'm telling you, when I do a similar sum, discuss similar sum in class, 95% of the students, I would say even 99% of the students don't answer 100% correctly here. They answer most of the question correctly, but 100% no. So that's why. Anyway, so 1, 2, and 4, we have availed a total this much. ITC will be credited to the e-credit ledger during the current month. Next, step number 2. Step number 2, that particular TIE. What is TIE? Machine number, what machinery? Machine number 4, I guess, right?
Yes.
It has been converted from taxable purpose to common purpose. Therefore, note number 7, going to note number 7, we have to calculate that 5% per quarter or part thereof. Let me go to note number 7.
This one.
Yeah. So if you remember, mission number 4, when it is purchased? 1st of
I think
October.
1st of October.
Last year, correct?
Last
So,
year, first of 3 quarter.
Perfect. Therefore, now let me just give some, okay, no problem. October, so per quarter or part thereof, we need
Yes.
to reduce how much? 5%.
5%.
144 is the amount. That also everybody is clear. How many quarters? 3 quarters. Very simple. October to December is considered as 1 quarter. That is last year. Again, January to March of preceding financial year. That is 1 more quarter. And current, we are now looking at July. Therefore, April to June is 1 more quarter. So we have 3 quarters, correct? Therefore, we have 15% calculated on 144, which is 21,600. Is it correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Therefore, considering that it has been purchased in October and now we are in the current period of July 1st, so for the previous expired period, 3 quarters have expired. For that, 5% per quarter comes to 15% multiplied by 140. So that one is 21,600, step number 2. Fine. Now coming to step number 3, calculation of TC and TM. There is no TR calculation here. As we have seen, what is the common capital goods? First one is common capital goods, correct?
Yes.
Do you want me to go back and show you? I'll show you.
No. It's
clear?
Yes, it's clear.
All right, fine, good. Then I'm happy. So first one is machinery number 1. Okay, given here itself. Common capital goods, that is purchased. It's a new machinery directly used for common. Machinery number 4 is converted.
Yes.
From taxable to common.
Yeah.
144. Machinery number 5 should also come. Just a second. Machinery number 5 is shown here. So machinery number 1 is coming. Machinery number 4, 5, and 6, all the 3 are coming. Correct?
Correct.
That's it. So this, they have changed the order. I was just wondering, machinery number 5, any adjustment is there? So machinery number 5 is coming here. So as we have discussed, machinery number 1, 4, 5, and 6. They're all currently they are being used for common purpose. Machinery number 1 is directly used for common purpose. Machinery number 6 is earlier also used for common purpose, now also used for common purpose, always used for common purpose. Whereas machinery number 4 and 5 have been converted from exclusively used for taxable or exempt to common purpose. Therefore, currently they are being used for common purpose. That's the idea. Add that up, you get TC as 342. I don't think I need to add up. I guess it is correct. Now, from that TM, very simple, this divided by 60. If you have calculated, take it into, I guess it is correct. Quick maths, yeah. So 5,700. If you want, just check it out.
It's correct.
Correct. So TM is monthly credit. Therefore, TC by 60 TM. Any doubts? Any doubt? That's it. I'm not going through the notes. Notes I've already given detail we have discussed. Very simple. Machinery by machinery you analyze. Any doubts?
No,
That's it.
from my
Question
side.
number one is over. We have calculated the ITC to be availed. Second, TIE. Just specifically with regard to that machinery number 4, since it has been earlier used for taxable, now used for common. TIE calculated. TCTM calculated. All 4 are calculated. That's it. Great. Therefore, this is question involving Rule 43, which is a typical example I also take in class discussion. So anyway, good that we are able to see that. Typically, everybody solves question involving Rule 42. Everybody gives stepmotherly treatment to Rule 43. I don't know why, but good that now we are seeing a unique problem. Rule 43. Good. So notes I'm just skipping through. I've explained in detail. That's it. So finally, TM is calculated. Great. Now coming to question number 2. Can we go ahead? Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Arise India Private Limited. In fact, Arise India is one of the last 4 years of GST. The Arise India case law in a different context. 2A versus 3B matching, ITC matching, it is a very important case law. But anyway, that name has been taken. Immediately on seeing the name, I'm able to recollect the case law. But question is not regarding 2A or 3B matching, nothing regarding case law. It's just a working involving ISD concept, input service distributor concept. So let's see that. Arise India Private Limited, a company engaged in manufacturing of various goods, has its corporate office at Mumbai. Now we need to note this very carefully. Maharashtra, and manufacturing units in Pune, Chennai, and service centers in Kolkata, Bangalore. It doesn't matter whether manufacturing units or service units, the recipient units, what nature they are, it doesn't matter. Please note, input service distributor means very simple. What can be distributed? What credit can be distributed? Input service capital goods. What credit can be distributed? An ISD concept. Can you please tell me the answer?
Service. Only service.
Only.
Yeah.
These two cannot be distributed. Only input service can be distributed. Goods credit cannot be distributed through the using this ISD concept. Normal tax invoice has to be raised for goods. Whereas input services can be distributed using this ISD concept. But the recipient unit, whether it is a manufacturing unit or a service unit, it does not matter. They're all the same. The law makes no difference. So anyway, for understanding purpose, they have given that manufacturing units are in Pune and Chennai and service centers are in Kolkata and Bangalore. I'll first read through the equation, then we'll analyze. The manufacturing units in Pune and Chennai and the service centers at Kolkata and Bengaluru are registered in Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal and Karnataka respectively. Okay, obvious, needless to say, useless sentence. Anyway, they have given. It's given that they are registered. That at least is very important. The corporate office is registered as an input service distributor. Need not even say, looking at the question itself, everybody will guess. 100% of the students will guess this ISD only. Typical question. All units and centers of Arise India are operational during the current year. So all of them are registered. Point number 1, they're also operational. The corporate office intends to distribute the ITC for the month of October. Following details are given. Pune, turnover is given. In column number 2, turnover is given. Turnover during the last month. 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 10 lakhs and 40 lakhs total, 1 crore. Yeah. So eligible ITC is also given. Eligible ITC relating to a specific unit or center, that is ITC is attributable to one particular unit or one or two units. I think here one particular unit. ITC attributable to a particular branch or unit is given. So Pune directly attributable ITC is given. IGST C and S are given. Chennai IC and S are given. Kolkata and Bengaluru nil. There is no directly attributable ITC. Can I move it?
Yes.
Whereas here in this next table, the common ITC is given. When I say common ITC here, it means ITC attributable to more than one unit.
Okay.
So in point number 1, it is given eligible. Okay, here point number 1, ITC attributable to all the 4 branches, all the 4 units are given. Eligible ITC, ineligible ITC, blocked ITC. Next, input used by Pune unit alone. Pardon, Pune and Kolkata. Third, Chennai and Bengaluru. It's all eligible ITC it's given. So ITC attributable to all units or more than one units are given here. And CGST, SGST, IGST are given. Okay, because the nature of distribution depends on whether the recipient is also located in same state or different state. Hence, the nature of ITC is also given. So Chennai units are also given manufacturers exempt products. That is, Chennai is completely involved in manufacturing exempt product only. It doesn't make a difference. ITC is, anyway, let me not analyze. Let me go read the question and then we'll analyze. So compute the amount of ITC to be distributed to the units and the centers. Any other thing asked? Okay, answer I guess. Okay. Now go through the question as usual. Read through the question very fast. Already we have taken some time. Go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I go ahead?
Yes.
One second. The quality of reading the question is very important. That's why I'm giving time. Let's not rush with the answer. Read the question, analyze the question very carefully. The answer becomes very simple, just like we did the last problem. You don't do that, spend that time in analysis. When you do the answer, you will get confused between step 1, step 3. You will not know the difference between how much ITC to avail and what is TCTM calculation. You will just confuse everything, and that's not the right way. So read through the question. Quality of reading the question is very important. Can I go ahead?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Great. Yes.
Yes.
So therefore, let me just analyze. Let me ask you certain questions. Please try to answer. Then we look at the number working. Now, head office is in Mumbai. Head office Mumbai. So, and there are 4, we can say, units or branches, correct? Point number 1. Now, out of the 4 branches, please tell me which of the branches in the same state as the head office and which of the branches are in different states?
Pune is the same state.
Same state.
Yes.
And Chennai, Kolkata and Bangalore, different states are
Yes.
general knowledge. Anyway, it's very important to understand. Why? Because this one is important because the nature of ITC will, or the nature of ITC distributed will differ based on whether same state or different state, correct?
Yes.
If it is same state, how will it be distributed? Very simple. If it is same state, the nature of tax will not change, correct?
Yes.
Whereas if it is different state, everything will become what?
IGST.
IGST, CGST, SGST, IGST, everything will become IGST. Whereas if it is same state, very simple, the nature of tax distributed will not change. IGST will remain IGST, C and S will remain C and S. That's the important thing. So this understanding is very important. And it is given that all units are registered, okay, it doesn't make a big difference. Even to unregistered units will still have to distribute the ITC. That is what is given in the rule also. But it's given, and it's given that all units are operational. This is for taking the turnover. Fine, whether it is manufacturing units, service units, it doesn't matter. And the relevant month is October. That is the important thing in this slide. So there are one head office, 4 branches. Out of that 4 branches, Pune is located in the same state, whereas other 3 are in different states. And the current month is October. That is the current period is October. That's the important thing to take from this slide. Next slide, exclusively attributable or directly attributable ITC is given. So to Pune, very simple. Now itself, can you tell this Pune, how will this be distributed? 3,30,000 and 30,000 will remain what? 3,30,000 and 30,000 will remain IGST, CGST, and SGST will be separately distributed. Whereas to Chennai, all these will be distributed as what?
IGST.
This entire thing, 36,000 distributed as IGST. That is the important thing. Other 2 things are nil. Next, coming to this, now we here for this third slide, we have to, third part of the question, we have to use the formula. Fine. So here it is given CGST, SGST, IGST, it is given, eligible ITC is given. Now what we have to do is, first they have given eligible ITC, ineligible ITC, so on and so forth, one by one we'll analyze. Now first of all, tell me, before I analyze anything, here in this slide, one point, it is completely going out of the answer. Can anyone tell me what point is that? One point, we need not even do any working. First, let's easy ball, we'll take it out. We'll hit for a 6. Then we'll look at the other little tougher analysis, so-called tougher.
Point number 2, input used by Pune and.
Perfect. Inputs, correct. Inputs cannot be distributed using this ISD concept. You'll have to raise a normal tax invoice. So therefore, here it completely goes out of the formula because it is inputs. You have to note that very carefully. 1 and 3 are input service, good. Now 1 is relating to all units, whereas 3 is relating to just Chennai and Bengaluru. Now, what is the ratio of the turnover? Last slide, if you see, to put it very simply, it is 2:3:1:4, correct?
Yes.
So we can say total is 10. 10 units are there. So 2/10, 3/10, 1/10, and 4/10. Can we use that ratio?
Actually, 2 units are not basically last Kolkata and Bangalore. So Pune and Chennai we will consider 5 ratio, 2/5 or 3/5.
Yeah, so it depends on whether it is distributed to all the units or distributed just 2 units or 1 unit like that. I mean 2 units like that. So if you see here for point number 1, it is given it is distributed to all the units, correct?
Yeah.
Whereas last one only is Chennai and Bengaluru. So anyway, I'm just asking the overall ratio. That's it.
Okay.
Now having seen that, so the ratio is generally 2:3:2 or whatever. In that particular order, we'll have to ratio we'll have to take. Now, first one distributed to all units. Again, eligible given, ineligible given. Now we'll have to distribute this separately because the rule clearly says eligible credit also has to be distributed, ineligible credit also has to be distributed, but we'll distribute it separately. Now, even among this eligible credit, we'll have to split between Pune and the other 3 branches because please note here it pertains to all the units, all the 4 branches. Therefore, Pune separately and other 3 units separately. Why? Because as far as Pune is concerned, this 120, 120 and 240 separately we'll have to apply the ratio and we'll have to distribute as C, S and I here, correct? Whereas for other 3 units, we need not distribute it separately. We can just add up the 3 numbers and just distribute it among the ratio.
Yes.
Because everything is going to get distributed as what?
IGST.
IGST. So by simple mathematics, we can just add it up and then distribute it in whatever remaining ratio is there. So that is a point we need to keep it in mind. Same thing here also. Pune separately, separate we have to do. Whereas other 3 units, we can just add up the 3 numbers and then we can distribute. This one is not required at all. Whereas the last one, it depends on only Chennai and Bengaluru. So both of them are located in different states. So therefore, we can just add up the 3 numbers and then we can distribute to Chennai and Bengaluru. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Correct. Great. So having seen this detailed discussion of the answer, so let's go and do it one by one. Chennai manufactures exempt product. Does it make a difference? It does not. The recipient unit can be unregistered. The recipient unit can be doing only exempt product. It does not make a difference. we'll have to distribute the ITC. Once the ITC is distributed, please note Chennai becomes ineligible because it is manufacturing completely exempt products. It cannot take ITC under Rule 42. That's a different rule. It cannot use the ITC. That's a different matter. But we'll have to distribute it anyway. Therefore, having seen these things in mind, so we have to calculate the distribution. So first one is that second part of the question, correct? So ITC attributable to that directly attributable to one unit that is given. So if you can remember, what was there? Pune and
Pune and Chennai.
Let me go back. No problem. So everybody can see this one. These two.
Pune and Chennai.
So Pune and Chennai. So as far as Pune is concerned, we have seen that it will be distributed separately, whereas as far as Chennai is concerned, 36,000 completely as IGST. Correct. So that is what is done here. Pune separately distributed. Chennai, entire thing, 24 plus 6 plus 6. Distributed as IGST. Is this done? Is this simple?
Yes.
Yeah. Just a second. I'll take the question so I need not keep skipping forward. Coming to the next one, ITC attributed to more than one unit. 3 items were there. But the second one we ignored because it is inputs. Now, let me go to the first one. Now, if you can remember the first point, we had eligible ITC and ineligible ITC separately, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So I'll just put the numbers here so that we can all remember. Let me not go back and forth. It was CGST 1.2 lakhs, SGST 1.2 lakhs, and IGST of
2.4.
2.4 lakhs. Perfect. Whereas ineligible is this is eligible credit. Whereas ineligible credit was 40, 40, and 80. Correct?
Yes.
Just keep these numbers in mind. And the ratio was what? Pune, I'll just write it here. Pune is to Chennai is to Kolkata is to Bangalore. If you remember, the ratio was 2 is to 3 is to 1 is to 4. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
It's correct. Total is 10.
Yeah. So total is 10. Great. So if you remember this eligible and ineligible ITC, they pertain to all the units, all the 4 units. But Pune, we have to treat it separately, and the other 3 units, as I said, since it is going as IGST, we need to add up the entire amount and then distribute. Now, as far as Pune is concerned, CGST, SGST, and IGST, right? We'll have to apply this ratio of 2 by 10, correct? So 2 by 10, as far as Pune is concerned, 2 by 10 multiplied by 1.2 lakhs. Again,
1.2.
2 by 10 multiplied by 1.2 lakhs. Again, 2 by 10 multiplied by IGST is 2.4 lakhs. So this will be the calculation for these 3 amounts. Is it right?
Yes.
1/10 is 10% is 12,000. So 2/10 is 24,000. So 24,000, 24,000, and 48,000. Correct?
Yes.
Now, as far as the other 3 units are concerned, we need not do this separately. We can just add up all 3 amounts. Basic mathematics, since everything is going as IGST. So 1.2 plus 1.2 lakhs plus 2.4 lakhs comes to 4.8 lakhs. So here it comes as far as Chennai is concerned, Kolkata and Bangalore is concerned. Chennai is 3 by 10 multiplied by 4.8 lakhs. Here also 1 by 10. Kolkata is 1 by 10, correct? Multiplied by 4.8 lakhs. And Bangalore is 4 by 10 multiplied by 4.8 lakhs. Yeah, amounts are coming correct?
Yes.
48,000 is the base value. So here 1/10 is 48,000. So multiplied by 3 is 1.44 and multiplied by 4 is 1.92. It's correct. Now this is eligible. Ineligible also same way. So ineligible as far as that is concerned. So these numbers will become, I'm just writing it off here, or let me do it here. Instead of this, it will come as 40K, 40K, and 80K for Pune is concerned. Therefore, 8,000, 8,000, and 16,000 CGST, SGST, and IGST. Is that right? Correct. As far as the other 3 are concerned, we can just add up the 3 numbers. Comes to 1,60,000. So 1,60,000, 1.6 lakhs. Again multiplied by 3 by 10, 1 by 10. And 4 by 10. Yeah. So it comes to 48,000, 16,000 and 64,000. Am I making sense? Are all of you on board? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, great. So therefore, point number 1 is done. Eligible credit we have distributed. Pune we are doing separate workings for C, S and I, whereas for other 3 units we can just add up the entire amount and then we can distribute in that particular ratio. Point number 2, it is inputs. So therefore, we should not distribute anything under this ISD concept. Whereas point number 3, so that is what is given here, inputs nil. Whereas point number 3, if you can remember, it pertains to Chennai and Bengaluru. So let's go back. Chennai and Bengaluru, this is this particular ratio, 3:4, 3/7 and 4/7. Now, how much was the amount? I'll just write it here. It is CGST of, if I am right, 30K, SGST same, and IGST of 10K, which pertains to 2 units. Now, as far as these 2 units are concerned, we need not be worried at all because both of them are IGST only, different states. Therefore, we can just add up 70K. So ratio of 3:4, correct?
Yes.
Therefore, 3/7 multiplied by 70 and 4/7 multiplied by 70. That's it. Once you do that, I don't think they would have added up. Not required. That's about it. Fine. So therefore, the important things to note in this question is big, but a lot of irrelevant information is there. We can just ignore it. The important things to note is that as far as the same state is concerned, we'll have to do separate working for CGST, SGST, IGST. Whereas units in different states, we can just add up and simplify our life and distribute everything as IGST. So this is point number 1 to be noted. Point number 2, input should not be distributed under this concept. Capital goods also, if it is there, not to be distributed. Point number 2. Point number 3, as far as unregistered units are concerned, everything is registered here, so does not matter. Or units manufacturing only exempted products, all these are irrelevant for distribution under ISD concept. Once it is distributed, what happens? That's a separate story. They're not asking that here. But as far as distribution is concerned, these information are irrelevant. So these are the important points, adjustments to be noted in this particular problem. Otherwise, it's quite easy. Now, having seen this, now I have a small question. Any questions from your side regarding this?
No, sir.
All right.
No, sir. All clear.
Now, since you don't have a question, I'll ask a question. Here, the relevant period is which month?
July.
That is last problem. This problem. October.
Oh, sorry.
October, correct?
Yes.
Now here, look at the question. They are given the turnover for the month of
Last quarter.
Ending. All right. Quarter ending September.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct because the rule is a preceding year, or if the preceding year's turnover is not available, then we will take the last quarter turnover.
Okay. So is it given in this question that any units do not have turnover in the preceding year? Nothing given.
No.
So technically speaking, they should have given the preceding year turnover also, means then you have a confusion. But here no other option. Only one turnover is given, you have to use that. So assumption is that there is no operation in any of the units in the preceding financial year. Therefore, they are given the preceding quarter turnover, and we have taken that and we have worked. Even otherwise also, you can state the assumption. Then it shows to the examiner that you have really read the rule very carefully.
Yes.
But anyway, here they have given the preceding quarter turnover. They have used that, no problem, because there is no other option here. So that is one point that you need to note. Relevant period turnover, what to choose. Sometimes they will give preceding quarter also, preceding financial year also. In that case, be very careful in choosing the relevant period. Normally, preceding financial year to be taken in case of ISD.